our friend London Fletcher. London, good morning.
Hey, what's going on, DA?
Not much, buddy. Thanks so much for joining us. We were talking about the Chiefs' defense earlier and being a defensive standout like yourself. What are the Chiefs missing on defense? Because it feels like they can score with anybody, but it's always a tenuous lead because of the D.
Yeah, when you think about the Chiefs' defense, they got some guys who can rush the passer. That's not a question at all. Chris Jones, D Ford, Justin Houston, those guys can get after the quarterback. But from a secondary standpoint, especially at the cornerback position, I don't think they have a guy that can go out and lock down, somebody's top receivers. They definitely don't have three guys that can get it done in the passing game. That's really where you say they were missing it. Maybe on the second level from a two linebackers that are really great in coverage. So between the corners and the linebackers, I don't think they're great in those areas as far as coverage goes.
Do you think it eventually undoes them in the playoffs?
It could. You look at the teams in the AFC who are going to, more than likely be the playoff teams. Well, the Chargers, we know they've already clinched. The Patriots, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion. You would assume the Steelers, the Ravens, those teams can all, in the Houston Texans, those teams can all hurt you in the passing game, and you're going to have to, if you're going against the Chargers, you saw what the Chargers were able to do against the Chiefs defense. They're, 5 wide receivers or 4 guys, and, Antonio Gates was out there making plays, against their linebackers. So that just goes, the linebackers and safeties. I think it could be an issue for them as far as the AFC playoffs go.
London Fletcher joins us, CBS Sports Network. Yesterday, Pro Bowl rosters were announced, and there's a lot of guys that are asking, what else do I need to do to get recognition? When can I finally get to a Pro Bowl? Feeling like maybe it's a popularity contest. I want to ask you about your personal experience here, because you had played in the league. You had played in the league for a decade before you were finally named to a Pro Bowl. Was there an internal frustration from you that they weren't picking the best players, but instead maybe picking based on popularity?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There was great frustration for me. I didn't make it. I don't think until my 11th year. I want to say it was ridiculous. There was years where I was clearly the best middle linebacker in whatever conference I was playing in, and here I am, first or second alternate. Sometimes there was one time where a guy who made it ahead of me missed like half the season, and still was voted ahead of me in the Pro Bowl because he was more popular. It's frustrating because, especially if you're playing in a smaller market or you're playing on a team that's not necessarily winning, you're not going to get all the accolades that you deserve. You look at a guy like Darius Leonard, just for instance, that comes into mind. He's leading the NFL in tackles, has 7 sacks, I think a couple interceptions, but he doesn't make the Pro Bowl. And it's like, but there's numerous examples of that at every position in the league. Chris Jones, I mentioned him, the guy from the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, he's one of the best pass rushers, interior pass rushers in the AFC, but he didn't make the Pro Bowl. So it's definitely frustration.
Who was the player that got voted ahead of you that missed half the season? Was it Sayal or Ray Lewis?
No, this was when I was in the NFC. This was it was Jesse Tuggle, my second year starting. My first year starting. Tuggle was, I think he was voted first Pro Bowl, and then a guy, Detroit had a linebacker. He was a stiff. I think Stephen Boyd. They put it. I think he made it. I mean, he was a stiff. Seriously. And he made it ahead of me. It's like, man, it's like, well, just wait your turn, and you always get voted a year later, and it's like whatever. And then it kept happening over and over and over again, and I was extremely beyond frustrated. I was pissed off.
Yeah. So when we use Pro Bowls sometimes as markers of Hall of Fame credentials, and he had so many Pro Bowls, so he's better than this other guy. Because of your personal experience, do you not weigh Pro Bowls then as much as maybe other people do?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Because I know. Oh, no, sorry about that. I know. That it's not that Pro Bowls aren't the all end all to all. You have to really look at what a guy's done, and I'd look at my own career. I only made 4 Pro Bowls, but I should have made 10 or 12 Pro Bowls easily. And I'm up for the Hall of Fame now, and there's going to be one of them knocks. Well, you only made 4 Pro Bowls. Well, no, it wasn't my fault. It was their fault. They made the mistake of not voting me in. So, hopefully they'll start to look at, really what a guy did and truly not be lazy about it and not just say, well, he only made 4 Pro Bowls or only made, 1 or 2 All-Pros. Let's really dig and take some time and look at this guy's career. But not everybody's going to do that. They'll do the lazy analysis.
Because your credentials to get into the Hall of Fame would be far different, wouldn't they, if you had 10 Pro Bowls instead of 4 Pro Bowls?
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. I didn't make the cut to 25. And if you add another 7 or 8 Pro Bowls to my credentials, there's no doubt I'm making the top 10, just based on my numbers. Add my numbers, compare them to Ray Lewis, Brian Urlacher, who just went in. Just throw more Pro Bowls to it and tell me what you come away with. They'd be like, well, dang, these guys went in first ballot. London Fletcher, it'd be hard to keep me out.
Yeah, that's a good point. Catch London, Fletcher, and the rest of the crew on that other pregame show, 8 a.m. every Sunday during the NFL season, only on CBS Sports Network. London, it's always great to catch up, my man. Enjoy football this weekend.